All right, so this video covers page 3 in your yellow packet. So we are going to be talking about angles. Angles are formed by two rays. Rays are lines that have an endpoint with an arrow coming off of them. So this is one ray, this is another ray. And so they both have a common endpoint, which is called the vertex. And so there's two ways we could name this vertex or this angle. Normally a ray has 2 points on it, so we'll call that ray AB, and we'll call this ray CB. And so we could name this angle either angle ABC, putting the vertex in the middle. So the middle of the angle, the vertex, is always in the middle of the name. Or we could just call it angle B. We could just name it for the vertex. So either one would work. What we can't do is we can't call it CAB. That wouldn't work because C jumps to A, skips to B. It doesn't go through the vertex. So we always name it either ABC, or we could have called it CBA. So let's put that one down as well. Or CBA, because that has the vertex in the middle as well. So those are all three acceptable names. And so there's different angle vocabulary that we are going to be using. One is acute angle. That's when it's less than 90 degrees. Right angle, which we show by using a box. If you don't see the box, it's not necessarily a right angle. You need to see the box to know that it's 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle greater than 180. A straight angle is an angle that is exactly 180, a straight line. Complementary angles are angles that add up to make a right angle. So these two are complementary because 65 plus 25 equals 90. Supplementary is when they add up to make a straight angle or add up to 180. So 65 and 115 are supplementary because they add up to 180. So you need to really glue these words into your brain. Complementary is 90 degrees, supplementary is 180. These are the really the new ones you need to memorize. So in this diagram, they want us to identify two acute angles. So 43 is acute because it's less than 90. So we can call it PQT. So angle PQT is acute. So is 47 because it's less than 90. So we could say SQR is acute. Obtuse is bigger than 90. So I don't see a single angle that's more than 90. But if we look at this whole thing, this is more than 90 because we're adding 43 and 90 together. So PQS could be considered obtuse. So could TQR. So could this angle. So TQR. Complementary means they add up to 90 degrees. So 43 and 47 add up to 90. So we could say PQT plus SQR make 180. Supplementary is 180 degrees. So what I could say is taking PQT and adding it with TQR makes a straight line. So I'm going to say PQT plus TQR. Those add up to a straight line or to 180 degrees. So let's use this idea of supplementary making a straight line. So supplementary makes a straight line, and we know that supplementary angles are 180 degrees. So in this diagram, we know this little m stands for measure. So this is just saying the measure of angle 1 is 37. And so they want us to find angle 2. And so we know that these two angles are actually supplementary because they form a straight line together. So we know angle 1 plus angle 2 equal 180. And so let's say 37 plus x, let's call this angle x because we don't know it, equals 180. Now we can solve for x. We just have to subtract 37. So the missing angle is 180 minus 137 is 143 degrees. Now they want us to find angle 3. So whenever I learn a new angle, I like to put that number into the diagram. So I know angle 2 now is 143 degrees. So if I know this is 143 and want to find angle 3, well, again, those angles make a straight line, so they're supplementary. So angle 2 plus angle 3 add up to 180. So we'll say 143. We'll call this one y now, since we already used x. And so I subtract 143 to solve for y. And so my missing angle is 37 degrees. So notice how, let me erase the y because we know what y is now. Notice how 1 and 3 are actually the same measure. Angle 1 was 37, angle 3 was 37. That is because angle 1 and 3 are called vertical angles. They're vertically across from one another, and vertical angles are always congruent. So 3 more vocab words. Adjacent angles are ones that have a common side. So I like to call them neighbors because they share a common side. So angles 1 and angles 2 are adjacent because they share one wall like neighbors do. Another pair of adjacent angles would be 2 and 3 because 2 and 3 share one common side, one wall. Congruent angles, we actually already know that from our first unit. That's this symbol. It's when they are equal. So another word for congruent is equal. Now, vertical angles are what we just saw on the other page, where 1 and 3 were vertical angles because they're across from each other. They're non-adjacent. So they're like diagonally across from each other, diagonal neighbors. So they don't share a wall. They're across the street. And then 2 and 4 would also be vertical. And so vertical angles are always congruent. So in this diagram, if I knew 1 was 100 degrees, 3 would also be 100 degrees. And I could find 2 because 2 is supplementary to 1. They make 180 degrees. So that would be 80 degrees, and so would angle 4. So when 2 lines cross like this, as long as we know one of the angles, we can find all 3 others using vertical angle relationships and supplementary angle relationships. So we know that ABF is 26 degrees. They first want us to find angle CBD. Well, it's a little bit harder to tell in this diagram, but CBD is a vertical angle with 26. See how they're diagonal neighbors? So I actually know that CBD is 26 degrees. Then I can find DBE. So let me use a different color. DBE is this angle. And if I know that this angle is 26 degrees, and I was told, let me use this color, that this is a right angle, then I know these two angles are complementary, meaning they add to 90. So what I can say is 26 plus, let's call this x, plus x have to be 90 degrees because they form a right angle. All I have to do is subtract 26, and I get that my missing angle is 64 degrees. And so those are our angle relationships, and we are going to use those to find missing values.